Hello, hello, hello. My name is Esteban and this is DeathPileDestroyers.com. In today's video, I'm going to introduce a friend of mine that I'm going to now introduce to everyone else here. His name is Jon from Flippin Ain't Easy on YouTube. And here we go.
Hey Esteban, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Hi. Thanks for having me today.
Finally get to meet you.
Yeah. Well, whatever you want to talk about, I'm glad to talk about it.
I feel like Joe Rogan right now, where we can talk about anything, right?
Right.
So I guess I wanted to, well, first I wanted to get to know you a little bit more, but I wanted to say this is that I did watch a couple of your videos. Lately I haven't been watching a lot of videos because I took it on this new project, and we're gonna go over that in a bit. And then uh, but I did watch a few of your videos, and I said I think this guy is a really genuinely humble dude. And for one reason is most YouTubers, we want to go out and help people. That's when it comes to selling on eBay, we want to help other people, and you're one of them.
Right.
The other thing was because I saw on your video when you were talking about the possible scammer.
Yeah.
You didn't want to put the gentleman on blast. You didn't want to put him on blast just yet because you felt that, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt first.
Right.
So I thought that was very genuine of you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that return has still not been sent back.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the other sellers, they sent me a message saying that they think it was a scam too. They contacted eBay, was able to get the negative feedback removed. For those of you who didn't watch my video, essentially what happened was I sent a couple of open box brother toners, a pack of 2, and they about 2 weeks later requested a return under the guise of both toners were empty. And so I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Of course, I accepted the return, did some research. I always go in and see who I'm dealing with, check the feedback left for others, and it showed that the only feedback this person's ever left twice in the last month sent feedback with the same issue saying that toners were empty, exactly what he said on both feedbacks. I'm like, okay, this person is not, this person's not legit. Of course, told him, please send it back. I sent him a message saying, hey, this is what we are going to be looking for. We always measure, actually not measure, but weigh our toner cartridges up against a sealed pack, toner pack. That's the best way to do it, because if that toner is used, it'll be a lighter weight. And no reply. And of course, it's been over a week, and that package has not yet been sent. So we'll see. Probably another week, I'll know.
Yeah, more than likely, by this time, more than likely, probably won't be sending it.
Yeah.
What I like to include the weight in my photos. Would that matter to you in this situation?
Depends on what you're selling. Like something that is weight sensitive, like toner, where if they use it up, maybe they are printing a bunch of stuff and maybe they just want to use your toner and send it back. Well, it's not going to be a maybe more than an ounce, but it still will be a difference in weight when you get it back. Something like that, like, if you selling clothing, of course, it's going to be the same weight whether they wear it or not. So it just really depends on if that's going to make a difference in the return, that type of thing. There's other people that they put maybe little stickers on the tag, maybe like behind the tag, like on a shirt or a more expensive item. That way, if we're thinking they might swap it out with something else, part of the requirements for this return, you have to return this back with our markings on the item. Otherwise, you're not going to get a full refund.
Right. I guess the reason why I include the weight is, well, for 2 reasons. One, of course, for shipping. But the other reason why, well, first of all, I don't know if you know this, it's mostly used clothing that we sell in my store.
Right.
And so the pictures don't really show how heavy a particular item is. So let's say a Nike dry fit shirt would be a lot less, weighs a lot less.
Right.
And then something wool is going to be really thick and heavy. So
Right.
I mean, some buyers like to see that, but in your situation, I like the weight. but not necessarily on the pictures. But it's really, I guess, a
More,
choice.
it's more important really for them to know the measurements, the important measurements on the garment, that type of thing,
Yeah,
than the weight. Unless you're dealing with maybe a really heavy jacket or something like that, something that maybe stands out to you as being, wow, this is pretty heavy. You know, you may want to put that in the listing to
yeah.
avoid a return, saying I didn't know this jacket was this heavy or this thick or whatever, that type of thing.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
So
All right.
you sell mostly clothing, huh?
On my store, yes,
Okay.
and then I took over. Well, I don't know if you know this, but Death Pile Destroyers is a service-based business. So I have my own store. It's
Mhm.
called Estacam on eBay,
Okay.
and then I have my own service-based business called Death Pile Destroyers, and that's why I started this YouTube channel to try to network some more.
Right.
And what we do is we offer photography and listing services for other resellers. Um, there are services out there like Cellhound and Hammock.
Hmm.
Those are services that allow that you can send your pictures to them,
Like a
and
VA.
then they'll. That's what they have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we do here is we we share our VAs, but not only that, we hire photographers in the seller's area,
Okay.
and we train that photographer on the types of items that seller has, and then they'll send the pictures to us. We send it to the VAs, and then it goes to so we
Right.
do a little bit more than what Cellhound and what Hammock does.
Okay. Okay.
um, because I rent a section here in Resale America, which is inside the Lakeland Square Mall.
Right.
I'll also service I service the store as well, Resale America. We're taking on a project where I'm helping Tom at Resale America get his eBay store up and running. So he asked
Right.
me to lead his team and his eBay team to get it up and going.
Right. Right. Yeah. I took a moment to take a look at that store because you were talking about how on his video he was talking about how you guys had some situations where I guess the last person doing the eBay listings totally left you guys high and dry. And
That's true.
that's a tough one to get out of because I've been below standard when I first started. You know, you make all these mistakes when you first start, and it's more of a time game. You know, you just got to behave for that 3 month period, whatever they're looking for, and then you get back to above standard. And if you're doing well enough, top rated, that type of thing.
Yeah. My buddy of mine, he calls it eBay jail.
But oh yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And you know, you get your rankings are affected. You know, you don't get the same kind of seller protection. You don't get access to the refund tool. So even if you're offering 30-day free returns, you don't. If someone sends you back a brick on a return, you can't deduct 50%. You know,
Yeah.
that's the most eBay will allow you to deduct when you get a screwed up return. But you're basically out of luck at that point.
Yeah. There's a lot more though. Did you know that they also restrict you from selling on the GSP program, the global shipping
Oh, really?
program?
Okay.
Yeah. And they don't allow you to promote your listings either.
Okay. Well,
And they charge you an additional final value fee on top of the one year.
like 5%, right?
I
I think it's
think
like
so.
5%. I think it's like
Yeah.
5%. And you know, the reason why didn't know about the whole global shipping and the whole promoted listing thing is this is back in 2019. Now, global shipping was out there, but I never used it. And
Mm.
you know, prior to promoted listings, this is all when I was in eBay jail. So it's
Yeah.
definitely something that you really want to make sure you're on top of with your. For anybody out there, make sure you don't get that far down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So, what would be your suggestion if you go into the below average, uh, and how do you dig yourself out of there? I've made a suggestion,
Mhm.
and I'm working on that now. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Well, there's a couple strategies. For me, I would minimize the number of items that I have in my main store. If it was my main store, and then in my secondary store, maybe focus more items on that side of things, and until things correct themselves. It's not, to me, it's not a volume game. I don't want to put all my goods on that store if I'm going to pay more fees and be dealing with sanctions. Certainly that's not the way to do it. I mean, it's like living a summer slowdown, whenever that's happening to you. So that's kind of my strategy, and that's what happened in 2019, and that's kind of how I was able to power through it.
I've never had two stores at the same time. Um, so I've asked other YouTubers what would be the if you had two stores, should we should I go about sending the items onto a different store? And
Right.
you said the same thing that I said in the beginning,
Right.
but these other YouTubers suggested that I don't do that, and the best way to get out of the eBay jail is to just sell more items. And so I'm thinking, okay, I watched I remember watching a video from Chris from Daily Refinement.
Yes.
Are you familiar with him?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he had he had mentioned this before. Like it's not fair that this percentage is so like drastically small. Like we can
Right.
just step on a landmine so fast.
Right.
So to combat that, it's better to have as many sales as possible compared to the returns you have. So
Right.
the way he combated with that was he bought these beanies. It was yeah, it was Oakland Raiders beanies, and so he listed them at break even, and that's where I came up with that idea. Since I knew that Tom here at Resale America had a bunch of golf club covers and a bunch of glasses that he
Glasses, right.
got at pennies a piece.
Yeah. Well, but the thing you have to realize with eBay, it's a time game. So if you have all this merchandise sitting behind you and you just blow it out and you're making all these sales, no returns, everything's perfect, you're still being evaluated, I think, on the 20th of every month or every quarter, depending on how many sales that your store generates. So the larger your store, and I'm not sure exactly the number, there's a number. And if you don't meet that number, you're evaluated every 3 months. If your sales meets that number already, then you're evaluated every month. So
I think it's 450. I think
right.
that's what I saw.
Right. So for me to put that kind of time into something I'm not making any money on, and even if it is something that makes money, my ranking is so low, I would rather just, it's a waiting game. You got to wait until that 20th of that month to be reevaluated. And then, because I had this conversation when it happened to me, you have to wait until the 20th of that following month to be reevaluated. Now, for me, I had enough volume to where I was considered a higher class seller. If you sell once in a while, you probably will be reevaluated within a 3 month or every quarter. And that's why, it was my wife's account, so we just kind of moved everything on her account, and not really moved everything, but all the new listings we put on her account. And that's kind of what we did in, 2 years ago to kind of power through that situation. And it was a lesson, definitely a lesson learned. But what I'm saying is, if you have another means of putting that merchandise on an account, I would say spend your efforts with something that's going to make you money, rather than just trying to get eBay to change your status, because you do that, you're still waiting till the 20th of the following month to get reevaluated anyway.
Right. So when you created that second store, or if you had a second store, did you use a different address? Did you use a different name? You said it was your wife's account.
Is it her name? And it was funny because it was an old drop shipping account that we actually had set up back in 2018, 17, 18. When we got into that little phase, that's when we were working full time. We had maybe 2 hours a day to spend on our business, and so we would do the whole drop shipping deal, and that's where you don't have the inventory, you're sort of a middleman. And that account, we build up some feedback and stuff, And that is sort of what we gravitated to when we had the situation happen with my main account.
And it had a separate address?
Yeah, I believe it was from the same address. Now, she's actually had this account for a long time. So
Okay.
it could have been from a previous address that may have still been on file. But I do know eBay uses the IP address information, but I'm not sure if they go that far to link, say, one account with someone else who's logging in at a different or the same location, because you have instances where people, may go to a library and check their accounts. I don't know if they would associate an eBay account just based on IP alone.
Yeah, that's what I was told, and that's the reason why I hesitated to do that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, so what should I do? So that's why I came up with the golf club cover idea.
Hey, I mean, if it works, go for it. But you still have to play that waiting game. That's the thing. I mean, you can show them in 2 weeks, hey, we changed our ways and we're giving great deals. But they're still going to tell you, you have to wait until the 20th to be. And I'm sure your account's probably large enough and did enough volume to where you don't have to wait 3 months. So it's just a waiting game. You're probably, another 2 days, and they'll reevaluate.
Monday, counting down the days.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So, and we're dealing with the summer slowdown right now anyway. So it's like you're putting a lot of work in. I'd rather take that high moving volume item. If I have something that's going to sell for $100, $200 and list that thing all day long, regardless of account. If it has a lot of demand, it'll sell if you have a good price.
Right. Well, two things I wanted to say is, one, those golf club covers need to be listed anyway, so doesn't matter.
Did you see the story I told you about back in 2019? I hit up a bunch of Dick's Sporting Goods, probably about a dozen different stores. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how many times people go buy a new golf club and they will never ask for the head cover, and the salesperson will forget. They'll go and buy their club and leave, and they'll leave that head cover there. At the end of the year, they've got just bags of these head covers. And they had a little foundation. So I said, look, I will donate $2 per head cover to your foundation, like a youth sports foundation, and for each of those head covers. And they're like, yeah, great, sure. That helps us clean our area back here, and it goes to a good cause. So
that's awesome.
I was selling those 10 to 15. Are these name brand ones you have, or?
I'll show you a couple.
Look at that studio back there. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so it's now Tiger didn't go to Auburn. No, okay, that's Auburn Tigers. Okay,
yeah, Auburn Tigers,
and that's Louisville, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Putter cover.
I wonder if I can wear this as a sock.
Chin warmer.
I'm sorry.
A chin warmer.
Yeah. So yeah, they're all has different sports teams. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, you could probably get like
working on them.
$10 a piece for those.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Free shipping.
Yeah. Let me see if I can move the camera without. See, there you go.
Oh yeah. So how do you source? Do you source with Tom, or do you sort of source on your own?
In the beginning, yeah, I did. I still can. Yes. So yes. Okay. So the way I started was like anyone else: thrift stores, Goodwill outlets, and then started buying pallets, and then I started buying truckloads I bought a truckload from Tom of used clothing. So we're thinking of doing it possibly again this coming fall, because that's when he can get them.
So how do you like selling clothing? I got to tell you, we just made the decision to sort of unload all of our clothing. We removed it out of our Posh store, and the ones we had on eBay we took down, that type of thing. And it's just, for us, it just wasn't worth the time. The stuff wasn't moving.
I'm gonna say good job, because it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
okay, so used clothing, especially, we're competing against so many other sellers. We are
Right.
selling, also competing against new items, and it's not as profitable as we would think, especially if I'm renting a place here,
Hmm.
I'm hiring employees.
Right.
It's not worth it. But if I'm taking the pictures and I'm doing it from home, perfect. It's a great
Right.
way to start. It's definitely a great way to start. But I don't think it's sustainable. However, I say that, and then you have Chris, Daily Refinement, and you have his friend Tech. Was it Tech?
Tech and sports.
Thank you, Tech and
Yeah.
Sports.
Yeah.
This this banking. They're banking.
They're banking, but they're doing a lot of work to generate that type of volume. I mean, if you look at the fact that they have contracted employees, so someone like me and my wife, we're not dealing with employees right now,
Yeah.
and you have to deal with such volume. I think they have like 20,000 listings, and by my calculation, I think it's like one item for every 200 that you have in your store per day is probably going to sell. So, whereas with hard goods, depending on what type of hard goods, more electronics is more like one for every 100, and your miscellaneous goods is one for every 150. And this is just going around and looking at other stores and seeing the number of sales they've had in the last 90 days versus what they have in their store. And that's kind of the rough analysis that I came up with. And then you're dealing with the returns, dealing with people sending stuff back that, like you said, they wear it, then the 30th day they open a return, that type of thing. And we're dealing with new clothing too, shelf pulls. We bought Macy's
Mhm.
lots, and just even with Poshmark, people want your item, but they don't want to pay nothing for it. So you have something
Absolutely.
that sells at Macy's for $90, and someone only wants to give you $10 for it shipped. And it's like, wow, this is, we're into it for $5 or $6 brand new. Yeah, it's definitely not, it wasn't appealing at all. And unless we
Did you
want to sell our stuff for nothing, we just decided, you know what, we're done with it.
did you offer free shipping at the time?
On Poshmark, I think we offered their shipping. I think they were they're $6.95 for shipping or whatever. But I
Mhm.
mean, we're already marking it down really low anyway, like 20, $30
Yeah.
when these things are retail like 80, 90. So they can go over to Macy's and buy the same thing for 2 to 3 times what we're selling it for,
Yeah.
and people still didn't want it. So it's like, people go in, and now there's certain things like certain brands that if I come across, I'll list. Your North Faces and
Mhm.
certain jeans I've never even heard of. You look them up, and it's like, wow, the comps are 100, 200, and it's not just one off selling here, one off selling there. We're talking multiple sales over the last 90 days. I'll sell those kind of items, but as far as we have free people, we have a bunch of brand new free people branded clothing, and it's amazing. And maybe it's the economy, just people weren't willing to pay what we were asking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny that I'll have some branded stuff, and then I'll have like these vintage awesome items, and then I'll have three Walmart branded things that sell, and I'm like, why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
and and it's like, okay, so most YouTubers telling me, hey, stay away from those Walmart brands and stay away from those Target brands. Yet those are the ones that are kind of selling, and it's like,
Right.
okay, what do I do? So I just what we do is we buy an entire pallet, and we'll list anything that's in good condition, and we'll just throw it up there, and then price them as they should,
Right.
and so we just don't know sometimes what
Hmm.
people are looking for. Um, so yes, it is hard when it comes to clothing. The sell through rate. I'm right now. I am consulting with a young lady who started her own boutique store, and she's selling used clothing as well.
Mm-hmm.
and she's not selling on eBay, and she has a format like a Plato's Closet.
She on Posh or what?
No, she doesn't have any online.
Oh, okay.
It's just a small little boutique storefront, and I told her, you're you shouldn't expect like a high turnaround when it comes to used clothing. It's about 1%, and because you're on a storefront, you're reaching out to a lot less people than you could on eBay. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to encourage her to get on eBay. So this weekend, we're going to be working together to get stuff
Oh,
on
okay.
eBay with her.
Yeah, I mean, if it works out for you, keep doing it. But it's just such a saturated market. So anytime you pull up an item and you see thousands of that particular item that's listed, blue polo shirt, and because that's a lot of times people will be looking for a certain color or type of shirt and not necessarily a brand. There's tons of brands out there. And so they pull up blue polo shirt, they see 1,000 different ones. So now they're going through page one, maybe page two. And if you're not there with that item, it's good luck selling it. And we, did the sharing game on Poshmark ambassadors, all that stuff. Even had an app that did it for us. Every time we go on the app, we'd hit the button and we paid like $10 a month for it. It just wasn't worth the time that we spent. We're finding that we're getting a better return with hard goods and stuff like that than the clothing game. But again, if you're able to find those brands that sell, and to answer your question, the Walmart, the Cat and Jack stuff from Target, I think it's because people gravitate away from that when they're sourcing, and there may not be the market may not be as saturated with those brands. I may be wrong, and also you can't ask for 10, 15, $20 for those brands, and people are looking for deals right now.
Yeah. You said it when you said when someone types blue polo, the next step is sort by lowest price to highest.
Right.
So if even if mine is a great condition, it doesn't matter. They're looking for the cheapest thing.
That's right. Especially now. I mean, you're talking the summer slowdown. It's much more in my mind. It's much more than everyone going off and going on vacation and going to the beach. I think that's part of it. But just read a thing here yesterday talking about the end of this month. A lot of states are that moratorium that they had for evictions is going to be gone at the beginning of July. And you got people who are, had that protection who can't spend money on your item. They have to pay their bills. And
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be pretty bad here in the next couple of months. I even put a video out about a month ago saying, I don't know exactly the title, but most eBayers aren't aware this is coming. And I
think I watched that one.
Yeah, it's a slowdown that's coming. And last year, if you're relatively new to reselling, last year was an anomaly. And the reason is because people were being given stimulus money. They were being told to stay home. And people, when they can't get out and they've been given money, they go online and they shop, because they can't go out and shop. The good news is that turned people on to online shopping. So instead of going out to the store, even when this whole pandemic thing is well beyond us, those same people are going to be returning online to buy items. That's the good news. The bad news is a lot of people were conditioned that, wow, summer wasn't bad last year. And they think that's the norm. But really what we're seeing right now is the norm. It's been going on for years. I mean, I've been selling since 2002 on this account that I have since 2007. I've sold all kinds of things. I watched Tom's video today. He talked about my pool table that I sold, and it wasn't my pool table. I was selling it for someone else. I got a good cut of the deal, but for like $9,000. But it wasn't an instant sell. And you want to sell big ticket items in the summer. It's always been hard to move stuff in the summertime, just historically. Now you add a questionable economy. we're in for a tough ride, I think, until hopefully it clears up. And historically, that's like September.
Wow. Yes, historically, it's September when things start turning around. And we got to prepare for that fourth quarter. I've always said that this summer slowdown. Don't look at it as woe it's me. Look at it as an opportunity to get our inventory up
Yes.
and running. Make sure that we load up. This is the time to load up. This is not the time to be sitting on the beach. This is the time to be loading up. We
No.
can go. We could sit on the beach in January, maybe on.
Yeah. Well, I'm out here in Vegas. It's 115 degrees, so the beach sounds great. But I'm
Yeah,
inside. I'm happy to be inside. But like for me, I'm used to spending a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours a day, and that's with the wife and I, just shipping and getting our shipping done. And
yeah,
it's like that's cut in half. You take that time and just list your items and get that stuff up because,
absolutely,
yeah, you may feel like you're spinning your wheels right now. Nothing's selling. So why would I want to spend my time listing something that's not selling? But that's a short term way of thinking about it. When things start to recover, come September, fourth quarter, you're going to have all those items that you listed over the summer in your store. And whereas if you just went to the beach, it's still in your garage or in your storage unit or wherever you have it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We gotta destroy that death pile.
that's right. That's how you do it. They won't go. It won't go away on its own. That's for sure.
Yeah,
You might be
absolutely.
creative. I mean, you can hit up marketplace. I would rather move something, boxes of stuff that I have sitting in my garage, move it for pennies on the dollar on marketplace, in liquidation, and
Yeah,
just clear up my garage and have to go out there and look at it all the time. So,
absolutely,
so that's kind of what I'd recommend. Find ways, creative ways of getting rid of that stuff.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think. Oh, I had another question for you.
Sure.
It had to do with you said that when you had the second store, you moved the items from one store to another. How did you do it?
Well, I had at the time I had a service called InkFrog,
Yay! That's what I wanted to hear.
but I don't use InkFrog anymore
Why?
because the experience that I had with them is that I'm trying to list and I'd get error messages. It wasn't syncing up with eBay, and it's like I don't got time for this. I
Yeah.
want this stuff to launch, and I was having so many problems. I have 1 gigabit internet at my house, hardwired to my router. I don't have issues with internet here, and so it was a server problem on InkFrog's part. I even touted InkFrog. Hey, this is a great tool, but I just feel like I'd rather go into eBay either on my phone or on my desktop, find the item, find the comp, hit sell similar or sell one like this, and they've got my item specifics already for that item out there. So to go on to InkFrog and then I have to put all the item specifics from scratch, that's taken too much time. And there's a lot of people out there who just ignore item specifics. They've got hundreds of recommended item specifics in their summary. I am a firm believer that your summary is like a to-do list that eBay gives you. And if you're not doing it, it's going to affect your ranking in the algorithm. I keep mine clean on all my stores, and it helps me. I get a pretty good sell-through rate for the size of stores that we have.
Yeah. All right. So you said you used InkFrog to move all the items over to the other one,
Yes,
and that's exactly the easiest way to do it.
to do that.
Um, and I agree that it's easier to use the sell similar if it's just you and your wife listing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, there are issues with eBay's staff accounts, and I prefer InkFrog for creating staff accounts for my VAs.
for that. Yes.
Um, the templates that I use um, on eBay, what I mean by template is like a pre-filled
Mm-hmm.
item specifics and stuff. We could do that on InkFrog as well.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I don't have to do that anymore. All my VAs are pretty good at creating the whole listings from top to bottom now.
Right.
But there are lots of benefits in having InkFrog for eBay, such as backups. If I were you, I would go ahead and continue listing on eBay,
Mm-hmm.
but I would still have InkFrog as just a backup, just to have it there, have just in case anything happens. For example, when it comes down to inventory management, and you want to go back into your storage area to see if you have any missing items, you can just go to InkFrog, and there it is sitting there, and all you have to do is just relist it.
Yes, you're right there, and you're dealing with your photos. So you assign the photo to that listing, and InkFrog keeps the photos more than 90 days. I think eBay after 90 days, it's like their magic number where everything just disappears and nothing exists anymore.
InkFrog will keep it forever.
Yeah, it will. And also, if you're selling on Amazon, and you can go in and let's say I'm cross listing on Amazon, it's tricky to set up, but once you get it set up, you get a sale on Amazon, it knocks down, whatever you have on eBay off. So you're not double selling it. So there's benefits, but to me, it used to be a guy named Chris from InkFrog that ran that place. And I think he sold it, and I don't know who he sold it to.
Was it sold it to Wix?
Okay. Yeah. Well, Wix isn't paying attention like he did. And the level of support just isn't there. And I got just to the point where I'm like, you know what? There's better ways to do this. Here comes the eBay app on the phone. You're out, you're with all your merchandise. Now we're dealing with hard goods here. So I simply scan the UPC, take my photos of it, upload the photos to the eBay app. Most of it's already filled out anyway because I'm selling similar, make sure the condition's right. And I just hit list, and you're dealing with a quick listing. You go on to the next item. And then when you're done, you bring it all in and you kind of just go through the listings that you made for the day and make sure everything looks right and put it away. And that was a faster process for me than to, play with InkFrog and deal with that. Now, another good feature of InkFrog is you don't have to be online. From what I understand, you can just go in and, create.
I think you need to be online.
I think you can create the listings. I'm not sure you can. There's some feature, I believe, where you if you're down, you can still work with an InkFrog and then upload it to their site.
Oh, you can work offline.
Yeah, I remember that being someone saying that's a feature, but there's benefits to it. I just didn't want to.
I was surprised to hear you say that. I was surprised to hear you say that you had issues with your customer service because they respond like that.
Yeah,
for me.
Maybe it's changed. Yeah. But, I stopped using InkFrog last year, September, October.
Okay.
And at the time, this was like 2 in the afternoon. I'd have an issue. It's like, okay, it's giving me an error message. I've never seen this one before. I go to the chat and it says, please leave us an email. We're not here. And it's like, well, okay, I'm trying to list my item. And so I'm out on an island. I can't help myself, except now I have to go and list this item on eBay instead of InkFrog. And it just got to the point where it was somewhat annoying. Another cool thing is if you have the pro feature, they'll actually go in and, at least at the time when I did this back in 2019, they'll go in and design a custom template for you, which I thought was pretty cool. And, but I think right now the whole idea of templates with people with their mobile phone and their tablets, I don't think people look at the descriptions all that much. If you've ever seen the eBay app and how the listings are set up, you actually have to look for see description to get to that part anyway. So yeah, I thought with all those factors, they're not seeing this fancy template now because most people are buying on their smartphones. It just wasn't worth, in my mind, the additional $40-50 it was per month to do something slower than what I could do on eBay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm not advocating it, but I like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, based just alone on the fact that you're talking about having VAs go in, because there's really no alternative. You don't want to give out your credentials for your eBay account. So you create a staff account. Now, they recently put that into play, right, within the last year? for
for eBay, yes, and
yeah.
it works. It works well, but it's not perfect because they have to jump through hoops just to list on it because
Okay.
they have to do a what is called a second.
VPN.
No, when you you type in the password and then you gotta do the
Oh,
second
yeah,
verification.
yeah. Two factor verification or whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
So now they have to go through that there. So and it was just it's a little cumbersome, but that's I don't know. I just and the other thing is that when we draft on eBay, like you said, 90 days is gone.
hmm,
Whereas if we draft it on InkFrog, it's there forever. But
that's right. That's another good feature, definitely. And there's other sites too. I mean, uh,
mm-hmm.
this is not a commercial for InkFrog. I mean, there's Octiva,
No.
there's others as well out there. I've tried a lot of them, and it's
Yeah.
like, why am I wasting my time? I mean, for me, everything I tried, it was faster. Now, I don't get a lot of replenishables, at least lately. The last year, it's been tough to get replenishables, and that's just because of my sourcing. Dealing with a lot of different types of items that come in. And for me, having that listing sitting there beyond 90 days with the off chance that I'll get it again wasn't worth the cost of, paying an additional 40, $50 a month or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to chat about?
No, not really. I'm glad you invited me on, and just looking forward to when you'll come on our show.
Anytime.
We usually go live on weekends, but I can certainly go live at any time. So it doesn't matter to me. I know you guys are based out in Florida. I'm over on the other side of the world, but
Yeah.
certainly we can coordinate it so you can be on my channel. Give you a chance to be on my channel and exposed to my audience. So
Yeah, we love that.
yeah. So I'm glad that you had me on today. I appreciate that.
Thanks, John. Well, I'll definitely keep in touch. I'll text you every once in a while and send you an email and give you an update on what's going on with these golf club covers.
Awesome. All right.
All right, John. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, flipping ain't easy, guys.
That's right. Destroy that death pile.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.